What's going on, y'all? It's J Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video. As you guys can see, a person I actually haven't done a video for in this channel, which I'm going to explain in a little bit why I haven't. But as you see here, I'm doing the Aye Verb Book'em. Newly announced Aye Verb versus Aye Word. I know I'm a couple days late to it, but a little bit busy, but of course, I was going to come back around and talk about it, and I figured I didn't just want to talk about the battle. So, funny enough, with Verb, obviously tons and tons of matchups, and I thought that a Book'em would be, right in order. He's got plenty of grudge matches from him just really going at people, and he picks someone one day, and he just starts yelling at them until they respond, and that's how he's built up a lot of matches. He probably has over 10 battles that I could think of built up, just shit talking that could be from anything from SMs to Born Legacies, high profiles to low profile, mid tier, up and comers, top tiers, etc., etc. I think that Verb in this second half of his career doesn't really battle that much, right? Doesn't battle as much as he used to, but talks way more, as much shit, if not the most shit he's ever talked, building up a lot of matchups, a little bit of picking and choosing in there, what I'm saying, when you look at what Verb's done, but it's also smart, what I'm saying, business-wise, to have this many matchups available to you. I think with the Ward one, he's built it up. I do have Aye Word winning very clear 3-0 when the battle goes down. Something we'll get into more and more prediction-wise as we get closer. But clearly a huge matchup, a humongous grudge match, and not the only one that he has. He even missed out on another one for it. So in this one, we're going to go over the 5 battles out of all of these battles that I think Aye Verb really should take, really before it's all said and done. I don't know how much he's going to battle over the next, just in general, if he's going to continue to only battle once or twice a year. These are the 5 guys over the next few years that I think I would really, really like to see Verb, go onto their resume, they go onto his, and really just have a good battle, past prime or not. So without further ado, as we usually do, number 1 will be the battle I think after Ward that he should take, but let's start at number 5. So at the number 5 spot, I do have JC. Now, this is one that doesn't have much momentum right now. Last time I had a lot of momentum to get booked was probably when JC was talking crazy to Verb at their Head Ice face-off for, what was that, volume 8? I think that was volume 8 face-offs. Jumps into the Head Ice Verb interview, starts talking crazy to Verb. And it's one of those where, JC, I think, went on to lose to Sirius Jones in that volume, kind of kills the momentum for it. Then I think Verb was like, oh, if you beat Surf, you get me. I don't, what I'm saying? I think we could have, it's a funny way of including yourself. But Verb just talks a lot of shit to JC, right? 2 Midwest battlers that haven't battled yet of the extreme legend caliber, and people just want to see it. You want to see all the Midwest, you want to see all the old-timers battle all the old-timers, especially when some of them like JC are really more still active, not like doesn't feel like fully past prime or anything like that. Not a battle I'm particularly interested in style-wise. I actually think it's one of the few grudge matches that Aye Verb has that I really think he has a very good chance in. For whatever reason, I just think the way that he could approach JC, maybe similar to kind of the way he approached DNA, although that's a debatable battle. But debatable, right? It's still a great result for Verb. Very good battle. A lot of people have Verb winning that battle. And I think he kind of little boy JC in a lot of ways, talk to him career-wise. Still a great pure rapper. I don't think he's doesn't land haymakers the way he used to, just due to stylistic changes. Verb just likes to rap multis. He just likes to talk. There's not as much name flipping, punchline, and even angle punching for the most part. But either way, it's one of those where it's one of the last big matchups JC still has to have, and it's one of those that Verb's talked a lot of trash to him. JC's been around for over a decade in this game, and it's almost like off of seniority. It just makes sense. But right into the number 4 spot, another opponent that Aye Verb has built up a lot of shit talk with, has a lot in his plate coming up, is Ill Will. And they really just went back and forth on Twitter. I think Ill Will's even said he doesn't take the matchup that serious. But Ill Will, another Midwest battler, high-level, elite Midwest battler that Verb just hasn't seen yet. One of those that, when I just think of some of the best in the game, I mean, no one's resume is always going to be 100% filled, but Ill Will is one of those where he's always been in the best in the world talks now for about 5 years. He's been, for the last year, he takes a year off, but he's usually up in that top 3 to 5 for Cody, right, or at least in that conversation. Extremely well-respected and just pure skill set-wise is on a lot of battlers, top 5 most dangerous. There's always praise for Ill Will, and I think it's one of those where he should be on Verb's resume. He's so good that you would want to see him battle Aye Verb in prime, past prime. It's just you want to see the best names against the best names eventually. People like that resume building stuff. And even though we're at a point that I think Ill Will would very clearly beat Verb, I just think he beats him in too many facets, especially the bigger the room, the more electrifying and captivating that Will has been, while Verb has really went to the pure rapping. Small room was kind of his best bet really in any of these battles, but particularly against a Will as well. And they've talked a lot recently. Now Will has Hitman coming up, humongous battle. So excited for that, as I talked about in my last video. You guys want to check that out. And then Verb is going to have Ward coming up. So they got some things to knock out first, but would still love to see it in an RB. It's one of those matchups that eventually RB could book, and I don't think anyone's going to be too mad at it. And I would say earned. I mean, Will's got Hollow, Light, Hitman, so he's actually battle plates that you could really debate are kind of harder to earn and above a Verb play right now. So it would make sense for them to spin back and book this at some point. But just like number 5, extremely good Midwest rec, and the reason I think it's one of the battles that Verb should take. Then we get into the top 3, and at the top 3, one of the 2 punchers that we're going to talk about here is Rum Nitty. Now, at different times, it's been a matchup that I think it's, a little bit built up, right? I believe it was last year that Verb called him out, had a huge short exchange, and Verb, I mean, like I said, Verb calls everyone out, but Nitty is one that he's definitely talked a lot of shit to. I think he changes his tone a lot, to say when Nitty's gets to the conversation. A lot of this person hasn't done this. Then Nitty comes up and he's like, I need like 6 weeks for Nitty. Somewhere to Cal asking for 60. So one of those where this is just not as much based on the shit talking side, just because Nitty hasn't even talked that much shit to begin with, although he has responded to Verb, said that he's ducked in on numerous occasions, and I think Verb called him out as Volume 11, until Volume 11 didn't happen, and I think it was supposed to happen like the top of top of 2023, never really goes down. I think Chaos and DNA is supposed to get moved to it, right? All of this talk, Volume doesn't go down, and then the matchup just kind of dissipates again. But Verb's talked a lot of shit to Nitty, very similar to Will, where it's like, we don't necessarily need. I think that has more of the Midwestern side, so it adds a little bit more to the story. But I think a lot of us would just have Nitty beating Verb clear, and then stylistically, there's not as much of a grudge as compared to a couple others where it's just, like I said, it is just pure skill versus skill. I don't think that there's even too much topic-wise for them to talk about. It's a matter of people just wanting to see, Verb battle Nitty. You know what I'm saying? Same way we want to see Verb just checked off on Will's list of, names. It would be the same way in a sense for Nitty, where I think any of us would have either of those 2 battles clear. They're always in the best battler in the world combos. But you just want to see, before it's all said and done, them check off all the different names that they can get on a legendary level. Not the craziest battle, not in love with it the way I used to, but I think it also has it has stature. Like, you could put that in a big card and it pops off name-wise, even if the stylistic matchup isn't that crazy. You can flip, like I said, this one and the Will one, a lot of the same reasons. That's why I have it at number 3. And then as for number 2, 2 grudge matches that I think it's a disservice if Aye Verb doesn't get done before it's all said and done. At number 2, although we are way past when it should have been booked, I still want Aye Verb versus Av. I know that Av is even tired of it, because at the end of the day, Verb just doesn't want to battle him. I don't know. And I don't like to use the word ducking. I think it's hard to put on when you don't know every single detail what's going on behind the scenes. But Verb had a contract, he said. Then he said he didn't have a contract. Then he said Av was worth it. Then he said he's a punch bot. 1 million views in promo. 1 million views. And it's hard because when you get a guy like Av, notoriously known for, not promoing, a big critique of him, but then he does it. Then he does 1 million views in promo, which does not happen very often. Drunk Av is born, all these interviews. So when you do everything right and it still doesn't get booked, that is frustrating, and it's just kind of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of, we tell these guys, oh, the marketability, you have to earn, and then they do that other thing that you said they can't do. They do it to the highest degree. You still don't book the battle. Av has definitely got things to say to Aye Verb, even if this battle is past when it was supposed to be booked. And a lot of times when grudge matches take too long to get booked, they can become stale. But I think that Av writes enough potent material that he's just going to have a lot for Verb the day that they do lock in. Another one where I guess Verb, just because he has so much charisma, gives him a better chance of some of these other matchups when he is facing a guy that's just purely based on material. But at this point, it really isn't that. Av is an elite performer. He's better on the big stage, in my opinion, than the small room. Something I always talk about. Even a good angler has a real good real talk bag he can hop into. And with all that, I think there's a real genuine disdain for Verb, and you can get really one of the better Avs that you're going to get. I expect a great Av coming up versus Rock, right? Just on matchup versus matchup. But I think there's a motivation here to really kill Verb. Same one that Ward, I think, is going to have for Max Out 3. And that's why I think it will be a disservice if at some point we do not get Aye Verb versus Av. And as for the last matchup, one that's really not that hard to decipher because we thought that it was the battle we were going to be getting here in August or September, but that is Aye Verb versus Swamp. And I never really like loved Aye Verb versus Swamp, pure style wise. I think that it has a lot of the makings to be kind of Arsenal and Swamp 2.0 ish. One of those where I think Swamp got a pretty, ugly win for the most part that he kind of rode uphill a little bit. Gets a little overhated for his performance versus Ars, but it's still not that great of a battle, really not that good of a battle. And I think this could head down there, but there's much more of a grudge here than there was versus Swamp and Ars, so I have to give them that. There's more of a motivation, right, to be great. And it would have happened on the stage. Aye Verb on a stage. At the older that we get into Aye Verb's career, it's like the more 50-50 we get there. Would not mind him being a volume Blue Room type of guy. I think he's I think that's going to really exemplify his style, give you the best version of Verb like it did versus Suge. But, there's all those things style-wise. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I can't lie. They did sell it. Now, do I think it's, like, the most natural grudge ever? No, it's really just them yelling on Twitter. But it's sold one way or another. No matter how we get to that point of motivation, it's all about the artist really giving a fuck about it. So, with all that being said, love what they've done in terms of building it up. People were talking about I could be the SM headliner, and even if I don't like a matchup that much stylistically, when it's that far built up, we got to see it. It's humongous for Swamp's development. Could be like another key turning point, like the Nitty battle, like the Rock battle. And as for Verb, it's one of his biggest built up grudge matches. Gives him a better chance stylistically because there's not as much punching. There's not going to be as much of like a lyrical or haymaker gap. Going to be a lot of shit talking, a lot of the in between stuff, the pure rapping, the cadence, entertainment, crowd control. And for all those reasons, just like it was supposed to be booked, I'm not mad at Ward taking kind of that. I think it's a bigger grudge match. I think it's a better matchup, better storyline. But at some point, we obviously have to see Aye Verb versus Swamp go down. And with that being said, that is my full Aye Verb book 'em here. A funny one to do because Verb always has so many matchups. And I can't lie, as I've hinted at in this video, I'm frustrated in the second half of his career. A guy that was always known for being so outside. Best resume. Battles anyone, win or loss. To a guy that, like, pick and chooses a lot more, it's kind of tough. I guess that is the transition to God tier. You can't expect a guy to be as active, as he was in his prime all the time. But, how many matchups have we talked about here? How we haven't got Verb and Av is a little bit beyond me. How we haven't gotten Verb and JC at some point is a little bit beyond me. I mean, he's really built up these humongous matchups. I'm not going to believe that the league fell through every time. I think that there has been some picking and choosing and some foolery. But when you get to a certain level of legend status, how much can I judge you? You know what I'm saying? You have the control. And he's proven that, and a lot of times, marketing-wise, shit-talking-wise, he has options to play leagues off each other. He has options to always be booked for a big card no matter the situation. So on one part of it, it's really smart. But on the second part, it's just tough seeing a guy that I think has always been known for not ducking, kind of turning into that later in his career. But hopefully the A board played is just like a sign of like difference. I hope that maybe we can spin back and get Swamp or one of the other, key like pen or puncher matches for the years out. And then I hope next year we get another 2 or 3 of those are the matchups we really, really want. But you guys let me know in the comments down below, what is the Aye Verb battle that you want? Out of all these grudge matches, I think all of us agree that the Ward one is really, like, crazy. We're very happy to see that, especially with a card that looks like it has, like, a Midwestern theme, right? So, for all those reasons, like, I'm very happy that actually this is the battle that got picked. But what's the battle you guys want to see next? Is Swamp really the one you want to see next? Is it one of the other matchups, older grudges that I've talked about that are still top-tier talent? Let me know in the comments down below. But it's been JSmo Reviews, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep an eye out because obviously as these big cards get announced, more news will be coming out and more videos on this channel. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.